African soil, joining the cast of Kings of Joburg Season 3. And yes, he is going to be playing Connie Ferguson's love interest. From screen to startups, from Harlem to Josie, Malik Yoba is joining us on the line. Malik, welcome to the Upside.
Good afternoon.
Oh, I understand you're a bit jet lagged, so I should say, hi Malik, how are you doing?
You're not so loud.
Not so loud.
Yeah, I'm slowly getting it together.
Malik, first time filming in South Africa. It's not your first time in South Africa, right? Tell us about.
This is actually my sixth time in South Africa, but it's my first time filming on the continent. Yes.
How has that experience been so far? Did you enjoy it? Is it at the same caliber as Hollywood? How far are we from there?
Well, as my good friend Samad Davis, who produces Kings of Joburg, along with Connie Ferguson, he always said Hollywood is a state of mind. So it definitely was a great experience. Very talented and committed actors and crew. Shot in Cape Town, even though this is Kings of Joburg. My character's work was in Cape Town. But it was amazing. I'm very, very happy to be here.
I mean, you have decades of experience, Malik. You haven't featured in anything quite like Kings of Joburg. Tell us about some of the challenges that came with, firstly, just working on a production such as this and in a completely different continent. As you say, this was your first time filming on the continent.
Besides jet lag? No. It really wasn't much of a challenge. Yeah. I find that the crew and the cast, I felt, were pretty much on par with any production I've done in Europe or Asia or the Caribbean or the United States or Canada. So it was just really, first of all, something I've wanted to do for a long time.
Oh, wonderful.
So I tried to first do a movie here in South Africa in 1996 with the South African director, Daryl Root. So I'd flown here back then to meet with him. That film never happened. And I've tried to do some stuff in West Africa that hasn't happened yet. So it was an honor to come and work. Samad and I are friends from the States. I was here doing the Joburg Film Festival. I was screening a real estate documentary I have on my business. And he said, hey, man, we've got a role that I think you could do. Why don't you come back and do 3 weeks with us in Cape Town? And so that's what happened.
And Malik, from your experience in terms of African storytelling, the stories that are coming out of Africa now, are they painting a much better picture of what Africa is all about as opposed to the propaganda and the way that it has been portrayed for years, where we're just starving kids from Africa? Has the African storytelling narration changed over the years from what you have seen and the production that you've just worked on?
Absolutely. I think that because, filming is, first of all, the internet has changed everything, right? Yeah, so this is obviously being streamed on Netflix, but I think that technology has made it easier for anybody to pick up a phone or a camera and create content and push it out into the world. I think that, social media has changed the narrative. I just think that I experienced a global sort of awakening across the diaspora. So no matter if we're talking South Africa, we're talking Kenya, Zimbabwe, Zanzibar, West Africa, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Nigeria. I just think that there is an awakening, right? Even down to Brazil and Guyana, Caribbean. There's an awakening across the African diaspora around truth-telling, about owning our narratives, around collaboration, around making the ancestors proud, and finding our rightful place amongst each other. We're not relying just on National Geographic or the BBC or someone else to tell the stories. And so that's part of the reason why I wanted to come here and work on this production. You have Samad Davis, who's a guy from Newark, New Jersey, who's working across 16 or 17 African countries with different businesses. And filmmaking and entertainment is just one of them. And it's the same way with me being here filming The Kings of Joburg. Was as much as I was doing the TV show, I also have business partners here on the real estate side with a platform called Frac Prop, which is about fractional ownership of real estate assets. So to make it more affordable and accessible for people. So that's work I'm doing in the States. It's also work that I'm doing here and South America and Europe. So it's an exciting time.
We are in conversation with bona fide actor Malik Yoba. And speaking about awakenings, we want to get into what is that you now refer to yourself as a non-white man. And I want to get into all other manner of things. But we need to go to sports, Malik. When we come back, we'll get into it. All right? It's 31 minutes after 2 Central African time.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
First up is football news. The republics of Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania have reaffirmed their collective commitment to deliver a seamless and successful African Nations Championship CHAN tournament in August 2025. This assurance was made during a joint press briefing held in Nairobi on Tuesday following a high-level meeting with the 3 ministers together with the technical teams and the confederations of African football delegation led by Secretary General Veron Musengo Omba. And in rugby news, Sharks flanker and Springbok captain Siya Kolisi says the Durban outfit will seek to win any way they can when they face the Bulls at Loftus Versfeld Stadium in Pretoria on Saturday in the semi-finals of the United Rugby Championship. The Sharks ousted 2023 champions Munster in the quarterfinals in Durban last Saturday in rugby's version of penalty shootout, and Kolisi says that shows the length his side is prepared to go to get into the final.
That's what we want. People want to go see the next game because they think that like this happened. Like guys want to celebrate, want to do what they do. Let people be themselves. And you know, we've all got our own ways of dealing with stuff on the field. Come on, we can't box each other and we can't all be the same. We're not robots, we're human beings. We express how we want to express. Sometimes you gotta take it and sometimes you're gonna give it, and it just happens like that.
In cricket news, Proteas coach Shukri Conrad says he was expecting the current wet conditions in the UK as they continue preparations for next week's World Test Championship final against Australia. Conrad was reacting after the first day of their warm-up match against Zimbabwe was rained out without a single ball bowled, saying they need more overs today to compensate as a result. Now, let's end with tennis news. South African wheelchair tennis star Kgotatso Montjane celebrated her birthday in style when she won through to the quarterfinals of the French Open at Roland Garros in Paris. The 3-time semi-finalist on the famous red clay beat Macarena Cabrilana of Chile 6-3, 6-3 to set up a contest against number 4th seed Ziying Wang of China in the quarters. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. This is Channel Africa Sport with me, Fikile Lungwati.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Hi, I'm Ngubeni, anchor of Africa in Business on Channel Africa, bringing you the African Perspective.
And I'm Ashraf Garda, host of the National Pulse on SAFM, leading the conversation.
We've joined forces to bring you in-depth, exclusive G20 developments as we count down to the much-awaited inaugural G20 Summit in South Africa, November 2025.
Tune in every Thursday at 16:20 Central African Time as we explore how this first G20 in Africa impacts the continent, from trade and innovation to climate and development.
It's a powerful crossover between Channel Africa and SAFM
as we bring you the G20 through an African lens.
The G20 in Africa.
Global Summit.
The African Voice.
It's 25 minutes before 3 p.m. Central African Time. Let's head on over now to the golden voice of Channel Africa, Thabiso Lehuku, who's got your business news.
business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thanks, Tebogo, and good afternoon. South Africa's Reserve Bank Governor, Lekhuleni, says that the central bank's fight against inflation is starting to yield positive outcomes, bringing about relief for consumers facing economic pressures. Lekhuleni led the bank's forum on an engagement with members of the community in the southwestern townships following the announcement of an interest rate cut by 25 basis points. He says a further relief is expected in line with low inflation, but raised concerns over the global tariff war.
We have revised the trajectory of inflation over the next 3 years, and we have revised it. Revised it lower. We expect that inflation will average 3% during the course of this year. There will be months where it will go to 4% and even go up about 4.5%. But the average for this year would be just around 3%.
South Africa's automotive sector is bouncing back, with new passenger vehicle sales hitting just over 102,000 units in the first quarter of 2025, the highest in years. This is according to TransUnion's latest Mobility Insights report. The report highlights key market shifts, including a rise in younger, budget-conscious buyers, influenced heavily by TikTok and Instagram. While new car sales soar, used vehicle demand is slowing due to competitive pricing on new models. Chief Executive Officer of TransUnion Africa, Lee Naik.
Over the course of the last 5 months, we've seen that consumers have become a lot more educated about the purchases they make. In fact, for the first half of last year, we saw that they prefer to stay with used cars for a longer period of time. They started to think less about chasing after a brand new car and asking themselves, can I afford to repay this debt to my bank or my lender?
Fitch has downgraded Afreximbank's credit rating to one notch above junk with a negative outlook, citing high credit risks and weak risk management policies. The one-notch downgrade to BBB- comes as the African lender battles to protect its loans from restructuring in Ghana, Zambia and Malawi, claiming that as a multilateral lender, it has preferred creditor status. Fitch pegged Afreximbank's non-performing loans at 7.1% at the end of 2024, while the bank itself reported a first quarter NPL ratio of 2.44%. Ghana's consumer inflation slowed down in May for the first month in a row to its lowest level since February 2022 as inflationary pressures ease across the board. Consumer inflation eased to 18.4% year-on-year in May from 21.2% a month earlier. The government statistician Alassane Idrisu says disinflation was expected to continue in the coming months. Idrisu says the inflation trend witnessed shows sustained deceleration. Chinese electric vehicle battery giant CATL says it will partner with a unit of Danish shipping firm Maersk on the development and after-sales support of advanced battery products. The tie-up, as it also covers battery recycling, is an extension of a strategic deal entered on today. In a statement, CATL says under the deal, the two companies will accelerate the electrification of container handling equipment with high-performance batteries. Indicators at this hour. In Nigeria, the dollar will cost you 1,000 naira 580. Botswana, 13 pula 27. Kenya, 128 shilling 4. And Zambia, 26 kwacha 74. The BRICS countries in Brazil, the dollar will cost you 5 real 66. Russia, 78 rubles 88. India, 85 rupees 58. China, 7 yuan 19. And in South Africa, the dollar will cost you 17 rand 86. $1 is trading at 73 pence to the British pound and 87 to the euro. Gold is trading at $3,361 and platinum at $1,088 per ounce. Brent crude oil is at $65.48 a barrel. For any business stories you would like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +2711 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business in Johannesburg, I'm Tabiso Lohuku.
Business News on Channel Africa. The African Perspective. Connecting Africa to the world. The Upside with Nompumelelo Ngubeni and Tebogo. Bringing you Africa's brightest ideas and untold stories.
All right, it is 40 minutes after 2 Central African time. We are still in conversation with the multi-award winning U.S. actor, Malik Yoba. I was saying, Malik, growing up, I used to watch you on, all sorts of, but New York Undercover really was the one. And it was such a special time for pop culture and my exposure to U.S. Pop culture. I just thought you were just so cool. But tell us, you did something when you were in the country and you held a masterclass for aspirant filmmakers. Tell us about why it was important for you to do that and to what degree is giving back and sharing your expertise important in this field.
It was Ubuntu, right? That term, I am because of you, right?
Yeah.
And it's similar to a phrase that we would say in the States, we are and so I am. So this idea that my success is predicated on the fact that other people have supported me along the way. And it's important that, I stay in that space of helping other folks. And so I came here to screen a documentary that I created called The Real Estate Mixtape, which was the first offering of my company, Yoba Development, where I was able to bring real estate, my love of filmmaking, real estate, and working with young people together. And so that doc chronicles my journey pursuing my first real estate development deal in New York City, where I took young people of color to teach them about the business. So I got to screen it here at the Joburg Film Festival and then do a master class. And the thesis of the class was storytelling is powerful and it drives business. And although I'm using film, which you're familiar with seeing me in, the subject matter was development, right? Real estate and ownership, and how our built environment is oftentimes not built by people that look like us, right? So we work in the film business. The system is not built by us. We don't own it. The music business, the real estate development game. And so how do we educate people to move toward ownership of their lives, of their IP, of their communities? And so that work around using film to teach is important. And that led to my partnership here in South Africa with a company called FracProp, and it's fracprop.co.za if people want to look it up. And that's all about the same idea. How do we create a platform so people could collectively own things, right? Yeah. In fact, my T-shirt, "We Need More Black Billionaires," is something that I really do believe. But we can't get there, right, without making $1.
Yeah.
And we can't get there without education. We certainly can't get there without collaboration.
Oh, Malik, we would love to speak to you about all things movies, property. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. What can fans expect to see from your character on Kings of Joburg Season 3?
Sexy time, baby. Sexy time. Me and Connie
we love it.
Me and Connie. No, they can expect. They can expect the best season to date of Kings of Joburg, not because I happen to have joined the cast for it, but because the commitment of the producers and what they wanted to do with the season. But now I think there's the action, there's the sci-fi elements, there's the the mythical nature, the mythology. But I just think it's really good. I mean, obviously great acting, Holisa and Abdul and Llewellyn and Clint Brink and Connie and Cindy. So yeah, I'm just happy to be among my great South African brothers and sisters doing work in their backyard. So
it has been an absolute pleasure having you on. Get some rest.
Yeah.
Thank you for making time for us this afternoon.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
That is Malik Yoba, and he is American actor, multi-award winning. So you want to check out the very latest season of him and Connie Ferguson, yeah?
Yeah. It's going to be an exciting one.
Engaging in some, what did he say, sexy time?
Sexy time. It is now 14 minutes before 3 p.m. Central African time. Don't go anywhere. We've got another conversation coming up next.
Zilipendwa na Abedi Jean de la Croix.
Uzuri na ukubwa wa kazi yako unatokana na nini?
Kwanza kabisa ni kujifunza vitu mbalimbali, lakini pia kuvaa uhalisia wa jamii kile inachopitia, kujifunza vitu vipya, lakini pia kufanya mazoezi na kumshirikisha Mungu katika career yangu ya muziki.
Bila shaka. Je, management na wadhamini vile vile wana nafasi kubwa au wana nafasi gani katika mafanikio yako kikazi?
Niseme labda wana 99% katika mafanikio ya muziki wangu, management au mabosi wangu.
Umewahi pia kupokea salamu za pongezi au ukosoaji kuhusiana na muziki wako?
Nishapokea nyingi sana kutoka sehemu mbalimbali, DRC, Tanzania na East Africa nzima kwa jumla.
Tuzungumzie kuhusu ukosoaji sasa. Unajisikia pale unapokosolewa?
Najisikia vizuri sana. Unajua, usipokosolewa ina maana wewe sio binadamu wa kawaida, kwa sababu asiyekosolewa pekee ni Mungu.
Zilipendwa kila Jumamosi kuanzia saa 12 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati hadi saa 1 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
Africa in Business on Channel Africa.
The president of the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, Badea, Dr. Sidi Ould Tah, he is vying for the presidency of the African Development Bank, the AFDB. He positions himself as a fervent defender of economic integration and structural transformation on the African continent.
So I do believe that I have a 360 view of the development challenges in the continent with my experience from both the supply side and the demand side. But more importantly, my vision is to bring on board all the stakeholders and to have a holistic approach for the development of the continent and to develop partnership across the continent and outside the continent, bringing all the stakeholders together to work for one goal is to make Africa green for life and livelihood of the African population.
Bringing the African markets into your home. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Connecting Africa to the world. The Upside. Your daily dose of inspiration, innovation, and untold stories from across Africa. With Nompumelelo and Tebogo.
It is 48 minutes. Oh, okay, yeah.
It was going to be fancy.
All right, yeah, no, that is a bit fancy. It means that you did well in maths.
Sounds so aggressive. 48.
All right. I just think your ability to add, minus, subtract, and all of those things is great.
It is 48 minutes after 2 p.m. Central African time. We're about to get into a conversation about private airline FastJet, which has introduced a new flight service connecting Harare in Zimbabwe with Lusaka in Zambia. They're neighbors anyway, right? But now you have a direct private flight.
It's very cool. We need more of these.
Absolutely.
Because I think intra-African travel could be made easier, more affordable, more efficient, and this is but one way that we are inching closer to achieving that, right? That efficiency, that ease as well on traveling on the continent. And these are routes that are interesting. I mean, I think the Mpumalanga route is also quite exciting. I wonder how many of their consumers take up that route to
the Kruger National Park. I'd like to think quite a few. Because
it's a tourist destination.
Yeah, absolutely. Because Zimbabwe does have its own national parks, and very impressive, by the way. But when you do come to South Africa and you get to experience the Kruger National Park, that's just on another level.
Yeah.
And I would like to think that it is a popular one. I would love to see more flights. So you sort of have them fly out on a Friday or on a Wednesday only. I would love to have it be a regular, a daily. Okay. But that's my own personal wish.
Of course it is your personal wish.
Anyway, all right, let's get into our conversation. It is now 10 minutes before 3 p.m. Central African time. Question though, before we get into that. Have you ever been in a private jet?
I've been in it was in a hangar. So I have been in one, to answer your question, but it was in a hangar.
What, like for dinner or something?
Yeah. It was a gala dinner for a billionaire for his birthday, and he happens to have a couple of jets, and so we got to sit in some of them.
I mean, that's how you roll. Billionaire clubs, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was very cool. Unfortunately, it didn't take off. But it was a cool experience.
We need to find you another one where we can
actually take off. I did get an offer to get into a private jet and fly to LA and live happily ever after, and I didn't take it up.
Why?
I was young and naive.
Regrets?
No. I don't know. I actually don't know what my life could have looked completely different.
Was this another billionaire?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Nompumelelo. I don't know. I don't know what your problem is.
My brother does remind me of that incident many times, as often as he can. Have you ever been in a private jet?
Have you seen me?
Oh, of course you've been in a private jet.
No, I've never.